Before the season began at Peninsula, what were some of the expectations you had going into your first year and knowing where this program had been and the struggles that it had over the last couple of years with the kind of turnover it had?
So the expectations that I had for the program upon taking on the job was really kind of listening and hearing. What were things that worked and didn't. My stepfather always said, "God gave you two ears, one mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak." And so, for me, I felt like I was the new guy, involved, and everybody else kind of knows the dynamic and what's been happening. And um, I just try to listen to as many people. What were the problems? What were the cracks? What things did work? Can we keep anything? And talk to players, parents, administration, former coaches that have been involved. Brian Bowles was a guy that reached out to me in the very beginning and was helpful. But just try to gain as much knowledge, and from there, it was I think the biggest thing that came away was how do I change the culture, because it kind of felt like there just wasn't pride in the program. And if your fan base doesn't feel that way, and the players don't feel that way, and the fact like it's all kind of a sinking ship at that point. So for me, it was just how do I create a culture where everyone starts kind of caring and gets investment and wants to be a part of this, new regime, new culture. I learned that from when I had my previous job and tenure at Windward School. The athletic director there, Tyrone Powell, big advocate of culture, culture, culture. And I was a young guy, and I, at the time, maybe didn't understand it as well as I thought I did. Looking back at it, that time prepared me for this job because everything was cemented in culture. We weren't going to beat teams this year based on having a guy that throws 90 and committed to USC, or going to be a draft prospect. Like, we just didn't have that type of talent. What I did look at is if we can get a whole bunch of individuals to kind of conform to a team mindset and to be there for each other, trust the guy to the left, right, front, and back of you just to do their job and their assignment, nothing more, then we'll be able to compete. I mean, being in that, I've worked in the South Bay for the last, 10 years. I know the Costa kids. I know the Redondo. I know, like, I know these kids. I've seen them. Great kids, but a lot of their teams, it's just very individual based. It's I mentality, me, and so from morning workouts, we just set the tone like, we're gonna do team workouts, and it's gonna be everybody holding themselves accountable. This is what is gonna get us to beat those teams. Right now, do you think Costa's up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, doing runs, working out? Like, maybe they are, but we had been in a program where I had heard we haven't worked out in 4 years, 5 years in the gym. Like, they haven't seen a weight room. So we're already behind it. Okay, we're going to cement it in hard work. That's going to be our foundation. And then it was just kind of team mentality. How can I get that ingrained? And, being, again, new guy, I didn't feel it was in my best interest to go, this is how we're doing things. It was more of, treating them like adults. Whose year is this? Yeah, it's my first year, and do I want to make an impression? But this ain't about me. It's you guys. This is your careers. Where do you want to go with this? You know where the state of the program is, and I know you don't want it to be this way. So take accountability. What do you want to make out of this season? And I'll help guide you and steer you. I'll give you whatever advice. I'll get the people around you to get you there. For me, I've never been a big yeller. I just don't think that you need to pants a kid in order to get your message across. You know, uh, so for me, it was taking the head role, had a little bit of like well, all my head coaches previously were hard asses, and like, that's just not my character. I didn't feel like if I did that, I'd be inauthentic. So how do I work in the confines of being myself? And I think that was something that, talking about that culture again, where I don't need to conform to what the head guy's got to be this and the assistant. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to let these guys be able to take accountability and let them kind of lead it. And any team I've been a part of, if it's the players leading it, those are usually good teams, championship caliber teams. If I'm the one that has to steer the ship and then I mean you're dragging a horse to water and forcing it to drink, and you just don't know if it's a mixed bag of results. So that was probably the biggest expectations for me was just you know how do I listen? How do I create a different culture? How do I get people to care and want to be involved and just be kind of a sheep herder? Just put a little structure, help guide. I felt if we did that, we could do something special.